Hey everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into a really big challenge, one that's kind of hidden in plain sight at pretty much any industrial facility. And that is, how do we manage all the critical data that actually keeps a plant running safely and efficiently? To kick things off, I want you to think about your own workplace for a second.
So let me ask you this. Right now, if I told you that you needed to pull up the original manufacturing drawings, or maybe the very latest inspection report for a really critical piece of equipment, where would you even start looking? Is that info buried deep inside some monster spreadsheet? Or maybe it's literally stuffed in a dusty filing cabinet in a back room somewhere. Or, my personal favorite, it's lost on some ancient, chaotic network drive that nobody's had the courage to touch in years. Look, if any of that sounds painfully familiar, trust me, you are definitely not alone.
And that, right there, is what we call the facility data problem. It's a challenge that literally every single plant faces, because over the lifetime of a facility, data, well, it just piles up.
I mean, just think about it for a sec. Decades of operations means you've got decades of different systems, different file formats, different ways of storing things. What you end up with is this patchwork of information scattered all over the place. And that makes finding what you need exactly when you need it a huge, huge headache for operations. So the big question is, how do we make any sense of all this chaos? Well, there's actually a pretty simple but really powerful way to diagnose your data situation. It's a framework we call the 3 tiers of quality. Let's break this down. Okay, so Tier 1, that's the gold standard, right? This is your clean, organized data sitting nicely in databases or specialized software ready to go at a moment's notice. Tier 2 is, well, it's better, it's electronic, but it's unstructured stuff like PDFs, Word docs, AutoCAD files, just kind of scattered on a server. You can find it, yeah, but you're going to have to do some digging. And then there's Tier 3. This is the physical world. We're talking paper and filing cabinets, maybe some really low-quality scans, and it's simple. The further down the tiers you go, the harder it is to access that data, to trust it, and to actually do anything useful with it.
Okay, but here's where this gets really interesting. These tiers, they translate directly into cost. And I'm not just talking about dollars and cents. I'm talking about your most valuable resource, your team's time and energy. So, here's the crucial question. Just how much more effort does it take to get all this data into a modern, actually usable system, depending on which tier you're starting from? Let me tell you, the difference is, well, it's staggering.
So let's look at how that cost actually breaks down in man-hours. If your data is already in Tier 1, you're looking at maybe 1 to 2 hours per asset to get it loaded up. Not bad. For Tier 2, that number jumps to 3 to 5 hours. But just look at Tier 3. If you're starting with physical paper, you could be spending 8 to 10 hours on a single asset just collecting the data.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a minute. 10 hours. That is more than a full day of work for one person, spent on just one piece of equipment, doing nothing but hunting down and scanning paper. And that's before you can even start doing any of the real work, like analysis or planning.
So, okay, we've seen the problem and we've seen just how expensive it is in terms of time. So now let's talk about the solution. It is absolutely time to climb out of that data swamp and embrace a modern software approach. And the hero of this story is something called an Inspection Data Management System, or IDMS for short. To put it simply, it's a software suite that's built to be the single source of truth for all of your fixed equipment information. Everything from technical specs and inspection schedules all the way to compliance data. But you know, a modern IDMS is so much more than just a digital filing cabinet. Think of it as an active, intelligent system. Sure, it organizes your asset inventory and automates your inspection planning. But then it does the really powerful stuff, like running sophisticated risk analysis based on standards like API 581, actively monitoring for corrosion, and, this is a big one, tracking your PSM compliance automatically. It basically connects all the dots, so you don't have to.
And the result of putting a system like this in place? Honestly, it's nothing short of transformational. You go from this state of constant, reactive chaos to a place of proactive control and, importantly, verifiable compliance.
I mean, just look at the difference here. The before picture, the old way, you're stuck in a loop. You're always hunting for documents, constantly putting out fires, and kind of just guessing when it comes to compliance. But on the after side, the IDMS way, you've completely shifted to a proactive, strategic mindset. You're not just managing files anymore. You are actively managing risk and performance using data you can actually trust.
And the path to get there becomes really clear and logical. Step 1, you centralize all that data. Step 2, you automate your workflows. Step 3, this lets you actually quantify your risk, which means you can focus your precious time and money where it matters most. And finally, step 4, you ensure you are always compliant.
And look, this isn't just some theory. Here's a quote from a senior consulting engineer who actually made this switch. He just said, "What a time saver, really reduces the man hours, really impressed." I mean, that comment right there, it speaks directly to getting rid of all those costly Tier 3 hours we were just talking about. So, as we wrap this up, it all really boils down to one final and, I think, crucial question that you should be asking about your own facility.
Because ultimately, it really is a choice. Is your facility's data going to keep being this hidden drain on your resources, this source of expensive inefficiency? Or are you going to turn it into a powerful tool for strategic advantage, something that helps you make smarter, safer decisions? The future of your facility's integrity, honestly, it really depends on that answer. Thanks for joining me.